When I was a kid, my parents used to tell me that ghosts aren't real, and all the strange things I have been seeing were just figments of my imagination. But there are people out there who believe that there is more to this plane of existence, and some have even documented supernatural happenings throughout the world. From an Asian haunted hospital to a haunted ship that is still being used up to this very day. Hit those lights, sit back, and join me as I tell you about the 7 most chillingly haunted places around the world. Old Changi Hospital. Old Changi Hospital is the most haunted location in Singapore. Even though this place has been abandoned, there are people who still say that not all has left this hospital. There has been numerous sightings of men in military uniforms. These are the spirits of the casualties of World War II when the Japanese took over in the 1940s. Even today, people hear the screams of these soldiers. Some people have even reported cries of mercy from these individuals, while some see mysterious, dark beings prowling around the hospital area. The Mermaid Inn. The Mermaid Inn is one of the most sinister inns in the whole of England and has been described as one of the most organized ghostly scenarios you can ever encounter in the whole of Britain. Mainly because some of these rooms already house a resident who would most likely make their presence known to you if you're staying in one of their rooms. Like in room 1, for instance. A woman in a white gray garment reside here. She unfortunately drowned many years ago. And it has been rumored that when you leave clothes near the fireplace, the next morning you would find your clothes wet. In room 10, be careful when you're in the bathroom because the man who resides here would just walk straight into the door and startle you and disappear. Perhaps one of the most sinister rooms is room 17, where a gang leader died. It has been reported that people would feel extreme chills when going inside this room. And this room houses one of the most dangerous artifacts ever. A haunted rocking chair that would go back and forth and stop and then go back and forth again, even with no one nearby it. Vanguard Fort. Vanguard Fort is considered one of the most haunted locations in India. Anyone who dare enter this place in the wee hours of the dark has never come out alive to tell the tale. And because of this, the Archaeological Survey of India has banned people from going inside the fort after 6 p.m. Not even the authorities dare enter this place during the evening, even to save and prohibit people from risking their lives, just to prove a point by entering this fort during the wee hours of the dark. The story behind the fort was there was a princess named Ratnavi who was cursed by a certain tantric priest for not returning his feelings of love towards her. And because of this black magic, the people in the fort could never be reborn. Maybe that's why the level of paranormal activity around the fort is way too over the top for anyone to witness in once lifetime. Karasta Prison Hotel. Built in the 1800s, the Karasta Prison Hotel was a naval base and a military prison, and is now considered as one of the most haunted locations in all of Latvia. Throughout the years, thousands of prisoners and soldiers have died here. Nowadays, it has been converted into a hotel, where one can experience what it's like to become a prisoner of war. Comes with a full experience. You can't go out during the day, you get prison food, and you'll have to endure sleeping quarters of prisoners that will be assigned to you until checkout. A lot of POW guests here have reported numerous ghost sightings, like the ghost sighting of a lady in white who looks distraught and is blank-faced when she walks along the corridors of the prison hotel. People have also reported light bulbs being unscrewed, heard footsteps where there aren't any other people, and doors have just suddenly opened. Maybe an experience to come into this hotel and sleep like a prisoner of war, but it does have its added bonus in seeing one of these strange sightings of ghosts that come along with it. Langham Hotel. The Langham Hotel is England's oldest grand hotel, built in the 1860s. Some people say that you can see the ghost of Napoleon III loitering around the basement and only appears during the month of October. But if you're one of the few unfortunate ones, Napoleon III is the last of your concerns. A German prince who fell off the fourth floor balcony can be seen during the morning reenacting his suicide. If you loiter around the hallways long, you might also find a tall man with a gaping hole in his face. But whatever you do whenever you're in Langham, do not enter room 333. The history of this room is so tragic and heavy that you won't really feel well when you spend an evening in this room. Room 333 is most famous for a very dangerous haunting, a violent poltergeist who throws you off the bed when you sleep during the evening. Some people believe this was the wife of a doctor who, back in the day, was murdered in the very same room during their sleep. Laung Sewu. Built in East Java in 1919, Laung Sewu means thousands of doors. Not only is this one of the most haunted houses in all of Asia, it is actually one of the most haunted houses in all of the world. People who have dared enter this house have seen numerous headless figures walking about, climbing up the stairs. People have also reported seeing the spirit of a Dutch lady who took her own life in this very house. But what this house is really famous for is the legendary entity that resides in it. In the basement of Laung Sewu resides a creature called the Pontianak, a pale-skinned, red-eyed woman with a blood-soaked white garment and very vampiric in nature. She usually appears in midnight, and before you see her or when she's nearby, people would smell a flowery scent. And even though the Indonesian government has tried to rebrand this house, there's still something sinister in the area that hasn't been cleansed. The Queen Mary Hotel. The Queen Mary Hotel is a one-of-a-kind hotel since it is also one of the most legendary ocean vessels in history. The ship started out as a passenger liner in the 1930s but was immediately converted into a military one during World War II. Now it has been converted into a hotel where guests can spend their evenings inside the ship. But up to this day, guests can still feel the lingering presence of spirits who still reside within the hallways and rooms of the ship. Spirits like young people in a swimming attire who suddenly appears out of nowhere and fades out slowly, followed with a stream of white smoke. A little girl holding her doll and sucking her thumb, roaming around the boiler room area of the ship. A woman in white, very distraught, roaming around the offices and the lobby, and scaring both guests and employees alike during her sightings. And perhaps the most famous entity in the Queen Mary Hotel, a young, bearded man in a blue overall who suddenly runs up behind you and starts to whistle, and sometimes even asks you if you found any of his missing things. Those are the 7 most chillingly haunted places around the world. If you know more of scary stories or haunted locations that you'd like to share, please leave them down in the comment section below. I'd love to know them. And thank you again for the 500 subscriber growth in the past 14 days. This special Halloween themed one-off is specifically for you people. I will continue to upload Wild Rift and D&D and other gaming content pretty soon, so stay tuned. And if you like this, please give a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll know when the next update arrives. This has been Skylancer, and remember, when you hear whistling, gotta make sure where it's coming from.